The government shutdown is now in its 9th day, leaving millions of Americans working without pay.
And Congress appears as divided as ever on the next steps needed to get the government back up and running.
Republicans blame Democrats for the shutdown, but Democrats are standing firm, calling for a bill to extend Obamacare subsidies and rescind Republican cuts to Medicaid.
This comes after the House Speaker was seen arguing yesterday with Arizona Senators Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego in the hallway of a U.S. Capitol building.
I want you to hear something very clearly. The Republicans are the ones delivering for you. We had a vote to pay the troops. It was the continuing resolution 3 weeks ago. Every single Republican but 2 voted to keep the government open so that your paycheck can flow. Every Democrat in the House, except for 1, voted to close it.
The federal government has now been shut down for more than a week. But Donald Trump, Speaker Johnson, and Republicans in Congress are nowhere to be found.
Well, the IRS is furloughing nearly half of its staff because of the ongoing government shutdown.
KVUE's Daniel Perot is live at the IRS office in South Austin. And Daniel, you got a chance to speak with some of the furloughed workers today.
That's right, Mark and Ashley. The union president tells me about 40% of the workers in the building behind me have been furloughed. The rest are still shown up to work and they are getting paid. There are nearly 6,000 IRS workers in the Austin area. For those who are furloughed, emotions are starting to run high.
They're calling it the Twilight Zone, is what it feels like that we're in right now, is the Twilight Zone.
For families like Kimberly Deshays,
like trying to move mountains with mountains on your back.
The gridlock in Washington brings tough choices.
I'm looking at my bills, I'm looking at my life and how, where I'm gonna make these cuts. The kids, it's Halloween time, so it's a lot going on with them. They have things coming up.
Deshae and her husband have both been furloughed by the IRS, political pawns on a chessboard they have no control of.
It's a lot, trying to balance it out, making work-life balance, and there's really not a balance when you're in the Twilight Zone.
They took telework away.
Local union president Eddie Walker says chaos and confusion has rippled through IRS offices, with workers told they were furloughed and then hours later called back and told they were exempt.
There's been this breaking of our work fabric and, and then now we're trying to stitch it up again.
Walker and Deshae joined Congressman Greg Casar Thursday for a press conference outside U.S. Senator John Cornyn's downtown Austin office.
We need to put taxpayers before billionaires. There is no reason the federal government should be shut down.
Democrats are standing firm on their demands, a funding bill that extends Obamacare subsidies and rescinds Republicans' cuts to Medicaid.
Senator Cornyn, pass the bill now to protect our health care, to stop raising costs, and to reopen the government.
In a social media post, Senator Cornyn laying the blame on Democrats because they voted down a clean funding bill and saying Casar should be urging Senate Democrats to support that bill instead of engaging in political stunts. As Republicans and Democrats point fingers, families are trying to get by with what they have, with no end in sight. For those who are furloughed, things are only going to get tougher by the end of the week. They're expected to get another paycheck from the federal government, but that's going to be the last paycheck they get until the government does reopen and the shutdown ends. Live in South Austin, Daniel Perot, KVUE News.